Informal work dominates the economy in Lahore. 70% of the city's workers are in the informal economy, and it contributes about half of Lahore's GDP. Recent studies show that informal workers have been disproportionately affected by the pandemic. As of April 2021, it is estimated that almost 1.6 billion workers in the global informal economy have seen a significant decline in earnings of up to 60%. In a moment of crisis, what kind of information do you prioritize? And how do you make decisions when everything seems uncertain?
For informal sector workers in an urban center like Lahore, the pandemic was not just a health crisis, it was also an economic crisis. In 2021, we spoke to a number of informal sector workers affiliated with street vending, the transport sector, people who work in domestic work, as well as home-based manufacturers. And we tried to understand whether their decision to get vaccinated was in any way based on their trust in the government, and if it was tied to their conditions of economic precarity and vulnerability.
I want to trust the government, but I am conflicted about this. Some people say that they can't believe the government has made the vaccine available for free. They say it is a good thing, but most of them still don't like the government because it has taken away their livelihood and driven up inflation.
Uncertainty about everyday life, about economic hardships, and about the vaccines was a very common theme in our interviews. This was usually because good information, time, and options are often limited. And it's difficult to find trusted interlocutors or intermediaries who can speak on behalf of informal sector workers. And so because of all of this, we found that there was a great sense of unease and concern amongst informal sector workers with regard to the dominant public health approach.
A lot of the people that we spoke to were not particularly vaccine hesitant. About 2/3 of them were either already vaccinated or were planning to or seriously thinking about it. But they were not vaccine eager either. A lot of them were repeating misinformation and were generally quite concerned about the potential effects of the vaccine. One of the things that we found most surprising was that a lot of these people who had expressed concerns about the vaccine and were quite skeptical about it still chose to get vaccinated.
I've gotten one dose and I'm waiting for them to call me for the second dose. But we honestly can't say anything about whether it will work or not. The night that is to be spent in the grave is not known to anyone, and no vaccine can save us from it. But I didn't get the vaccine out of fear that they would disable my SIM card or anything. I got it for the sake of protection, and they treated me well, so I'm happy with it. We've heard rumors from Facebook of some Nobel Prize winner that those who get the vaccine will die in 2 years, but what can we say? When your time comes, nothing can save you from it, and everyone has to die at some point anyway. But I believe that all people should get the vaccine regardless.
Vaccine hesitancy looks different around the world. In the case of informal sector workers in Lahore, we found that this was often because of a lack of information or also because of wrong information about it. So a lot more needed to be done in terms of dealing with people's insecurity and uncertainty in terms of information, but also their income.
Corona happened. Fine. But there should have been some aid for poor people like me, who have been told not to work, to sit at home, to die of starvation.
Look, the thing is that people know the disease is out there. That's the majority opinion. The difference lies in how they react to it. We are the labor class, and we have to work to make a livelihood, disease or no disease. Then there's the wealthy people, who somehow think they will never die, and so have a very different approach to this. That's the bottom line.
Building trust in public health strategies requires speaking to people where they are, in markets, in taxis, at home. And it requires recognizing the trade-offs and challenges that come with the daily struggle to make a living in urban Lahore, facing high inflation and higher uncertainty.